Hello, and welcome to Mr. Wise's video about scientific notation. So, scientific notation is kind of like exponents, and it's what it is. It's a easy way of dealing with either very large or very small numbers. Now, in scientific notation, a number has the form x times 10 to the n. So, in this case, x here is always a number bigger than 0 but less than 10. Now, the easiest way to figure out the power on the n is to keep track of how many times you move the decimal. So normally in a lot of numbers, you wouldn't have a decimal point, but we always know that in most numbers, the decimal point is at the end. So where of course we don't normally write it. So let's just get right into it, and we'll start with a example. So let's take a relatively large number, like 58 million, which is of course 5 and 8 followed by 6 zeros. So here we have the number 58 million. Now to turn this into scientific notation, all we have to do is, now remember, the decimal point is right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to move that decimal point over to the left, and we're going to see how many times it takes to get that decimal point to over here between the 5 and the 8. So we're going to move the decimal point once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and 7 times. So we move the decimal point 7 times over, and now the decimal point is right here between the 5 and the 8. So all we have to do is write it out now as 5.8 times 10 to the 7. And it's as easy as that. That is the correct scientific notation term for 58 million. Let's move on to another number. We could take the number 145,000. So of course we write that 1, 4, 5, followed by 3 zeros. 145,000. So again, we know the decimal point is right here, and we need to move it all the way over between the 1 and the 4. So we're going to move it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Move the decimal point over 5 times. So we know it's going to be 1 point, because the decimal point is here now, 4, 5, because we need to keep all the significant figure numbers here, times 10 to the power of 5. Simple as that. Let's try another one. Let's take 7,120,000. So we're going to write that 7, 1, 2, 0, 120,000, so 3 more zeros. First thing, of course, we recognize is the fact that the decimal point is at the end of the number, and we're going to need to move that decimal point all the way over to next to the 7 and the 1. So we'll see how many it takes. We'll take once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and 6 times. And so we simply write that out now as 7.12 times 10 to the power of 6. Simple as that for large numbers. But with scientific notation, we can use it for very large numbers, but we can also use it for very small numbers. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. So let's take a small number like 0.051. So to move this into scientific notation, we're essentially going to do the same thing, but we're going to move the decimal point in the other direction. So we're going to take the decimal point, we're going to move it once, twice, 3 times. So now we simply write that as 5.1 times 10. But this is a very small number, and we moved the decimal point the other way, to the right. So now the exponent number becomes negative. So it is 5.1 times 10 to the negative 3. Let's try another number. Let's take 0.0000 0, 0, 6, 4. Again, we're just going to do the very same thing. We're going to take the decimal point, which is right here, and we're going to move it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and 6 times to right here. Now again, we simply write as 6.4 times 10. Again, this is a very small number, so it is going to be a negative exponent number. So we have negative 6. Let's do one last one here. Let's take 0.0082. So again, we're just going to take this decimal point and we're going to move it once, twice, 3 times. So again, we simply write that as 8.2 times 10 to the negative 3. So that is doing scientific notation for relatively small numbers. Now, what if you have scientific notation and you want to change it back to standard form? So let's take a number 4.7 times 10 to the power of 6. So we're going to we'll write the number 4.7, and we're going to move the decimal point over 6 times. Move it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Now what you can do is you can just fill in the zeros in these gaps here. 1 0, 2 0, 3 0, 5 zeros. So then we can just simply write that out now as 4,700,000. Let's take another number. Let's take a smaller number though. We'll go 3.1 times 10 to the power of 2. So all we're going to do is we're going to write 3.1, and we're going to move this over twice. Once, twice, fill in the 0, and you get 310. Now we can go the other way for small numbers. So we'll take 9.87 times 10 to the negative 7. So we're going to write out over here 9.87. But now we need to move it not this way, but the other way because it's a negative number. So we're going to move it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and simply fill in the zeros. And of course the decimal point is here, and you can put a 0 here just so for your own sake. But that's what we're moving the decimal point over. So we can simply write it out now as 0.00000987. And so that is how you do scientific notation. Relatively easy. Thank you so much.